Sunday. The Packers are about to play the Chargers. I'm about to go out and have a good time and party without holes. Today I'm going to talk about, PUAs again in the Red Man Group. What are they going to do? Well, I know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to try to go after those white, black, red, whatever holes. That's what they're going to go. They're going to go after those holes. And the thing is, the difference between a PUA and a typical guy will just flock after the hole, going after her. A PUA, the Red Man Group, all they're going to do is sit there and beat around the bush and act like they don't like the validation of women and then go after her. But the difference is between the Red Man and the PUA, the Red Man has a little bit of red pill knowledge. That's the only difference. But how do the MGTOWs view the validation of women? We don't care. We don't care one bit. If they like us, cool, they like us. If they don't like us, cool, they don't like us. It doesn't affect us any bit. All we're going to do is do stuff like that, and I have found some questions on a CDL test. This is a practice test. You can actually find this on YouTube. I actually investigated additional information to this, which corresponds to the 2017 book that I read. But most of this information is still good. Number one, loads that are over length, over width, or overweight require driving limited to certain times, flashlights, or example of a load over too wide would be 8.5 feet would be considered too wide. So that's the number right there. What you usually do if you see a hazard on the road, use your four-way flashers and brake lights to warn others. That was number two. What you see a hazard on the road, use your four-way flashers and brake lights to warn others. That was number two. Number three, when checking lights, you should turn off the engine, take keys with you, turn on the headlights and four-way flashers. That's number three. Number four, to avoid rollbacks when you start, you should partly engage the clutch before you take your right foot off the clutch. Number five, you should use a helper to back a vehicle whenever possible. Number six, name some suspension parts defects. Name some suspension system defects. Leaf spring cracked or broken spring hanger, leaking shock absorbers, and this is additional information. It can have shocks and struts, coil springs, leaf springs, control arms, sway bars, helper springs, and penhard bars or some other parts that can be on there. Number seven, the most important hand signal is stop. Number eight, stab braking should not be used on vehicles with anti-lock brakes. Number nine, tire damage does not cause rough acceleration. That's actually one of the questions on there. Number 10, if you need to leave the road in a traffic emergency, you should avoid braking until your speed has decreased until 20 miles per hour. Number 11, prescription drugs by your doctor says that you can drive these vehicles. So you're going to basically, if you want to do drugs or anything, it has to be approved by your doctor. Other than that, it's illegal. How can you avoid the effects of wet brakes can cause. This is number 12. How can you avoid the effects that wet brakes can cause? Slow down and place transmission low gear. Gently apply the brakes. Increase engine RPM. And cross water while keeping light pressure on the brakes. Number 13. Which of the following is true about vehicles with a high center of gravity? The cargo should be arranged to that the heaviest part of the cargo is under the lightest part. 14. On slippery roads, keep more distance. 15. Make sure your seal is properly secured. 16. If you're driving a 30-foot vehicle at 55 miles per hour, how many seconds of the following distance are you allowed? 4 seconds is the answer, but this is how they come up with it. Here's a general rule that I actually looked up. You need at least 1 second for each 10 feet of vehicle length below 40 miles per hour. At greater speeds than 40 miles per hour, you add a second. So you take a look at this. If you're driving a 30-foot vehicle at 55 miles per hour, which that's over 55, 30, if 40, 55 miles per hour is over 40 miles per hour. So if it's under 40 miles per hour, it would be 3 feet. But since it's over, it's going to be 4 feet. You should back and turn toward the driver's side so you can watch the rear of the vehicle by looking out the side window. That's 17. 18. When you're driving at night, use your low beams when an oncoming vehicle is within 500 feet. 19. A car suddenly cuts in front of you, creating a hazard. What should you do? Single and change lanes to avoid the car if possible. Slow down to prevent the crash. That'll be 19. And 20, we're going to stop at. What is the minimum tread depth for tires other than the front tires? That's 2/32 of an inch. The front tires are going to be 4/32 of an inch.